Hey guys, welcome back. Today is Random Grab Bag Friday, and the choice for today ended up being Gran Turismo for the PSP. Now this game has sort of a long history, as it was announced, I believe right around the PSP's unveiling, which was what, 2004? So that was, wow, a long time ago. And I believe it eventually got released 2009. I believe Polyphony Digital sort of put this game on the shelf for a few years while they focused on their PS3 games. Then eventually came back right around the point where Sony was trying to get publishers back on board for developing on the PSP, and started with the PSP Go, all that sort of stuff, when they were trying to revitalize the PSP. This is one of the games that they sort of put up on a pedestal for that sort of era of the PSP. And so the big criticism about this game in particular is that there's no campaign. Sort of focusing on the portable aspect of the PSP, they don't have any sort of a campaign mode here. Instead, you're playing, single player races, and as you win races on tracks, the difficulty ranks up, so it gets harder and harder to a certain point. And basically, sort of the big aim on this game is sort of collecting all the cars they're offered here. There's over 800 cars, I believe, all of them coming from, I believe, GT4, maybe 3. That's sort of where those models are coming from. Let's see what else we have here. We got multiplayer. It's all limited to ad hoc multiplayer, so that's local multiplayer. And along with that, you can also trade cars with other people, so sort of a Pokemon aspect to it. The interesting thing is that they released an ad hoc party app for the PS3 that essentially lets you turn that ad hoc connection into an online one, sort of like an official tunnel software for the system. So that's the way you can actually play the game online, trade your cars online if you want to do that sort of thing. Sort of go along with the portable aspect, where they want you to come back, play it for 10, 20, 30 minutes at a time. Is that there's the dealerships, there are just 4 available. Every other day it refreshes, and so you only get these 4 dealers and this set of cars. So we got Lamborghini here. I could almost get that. Got some cheap cars here, some interesting ones. So that's how you do that. The driving challenges are basically sort of the old license test. There's a bunch of them there. I believe there's up to like 20 sets of 6 challenges each. Essentially a good way to sort of learn good racing techniques if that's what you want to do. What else we have here? Got your status report, gives you all your stats and all that stuff. Theater mode gets you all your replays. You can do all that stuff just like normal. I don't believe it's as in-depth as probably some of the PS3 and GT4 stuff. You got your options. You can customize your controls any way you want. There's the ability to install, so to help out with the loading times a bit. There's your manual. So let's hop into the single player. I'll show you sort of what is going on here. So there are 3 different modes here. You got your time trial, drift trial, which is basically time trial, but instead it's measuring your drift technique. Essentially, you get drift points as you sort of race these dirt tracks that it has. So you're trying to, do as well as you can with that stuff. And we got a normal single race. What's interesting here is that you can sort of have your own bit of customizable stuff here. You can limit it to one manufacturer, and you can adjust how many laps from 1 to 99. And sort of as you can see there on the left, the amount of money you can win from those increases as you increase the amount of laps. So we'll just go with a quick 3-lap race here. I already got a bunch of cars here just early on from getting a bunch of money and playing some of the challenges. What they did when they launched the game, they had a couple of pre-order cars, special pre-order cars. I believe these 5 right here are those cars. They all released them as free on the PlayStation Store, so if you want to get this game, those are 5 free cars to start off, and they're all pretty good cars from what I can tell. All nice sort of sports cars. So let's hop into the Bugatti Veyron. Here you got some limited sort of things to adjust here. Nothing really too big or as in-depth as what you would want from this sort of more of the full-featured games. Here are all of your tracks. A ton of them here. And what's interesting is sort of the difficulty is sort of handled in such a way that... Let me find a track here real quick. We'll do Laguna in a second, just a bit. Start off with Seattle. This is one of my favorite early tracks in the Gran Turismo games. Anyway, when you start off, the difficulty level is at D rank, and if you win the race on that track, it'll upgrade to C rank, then B rank, A rank, and I believe S rank. Then those increased ranks will upgrade the amount of money you get for each race too, so it's sort of a good way to sort of come back, just play a couple of tracks at a time. So yeah, that load time is really good for installing, so it's definitely, if you get this game, that's an option you really should take advantage of. Though if you get the digital version, it doesn't matter at all. So what do we got here in terms of options? Here's some more, those same options for cars. Tweaking, here's some of the driving line, which is basically more of a, this is the part where you brake and this is the part where you don't brake. It doesn't really give you as fine of a line as you can. So it looks like you can adjust the amount of laps in the race itself. So that's cool. Okay, that's good, so we'll just start.
Ready?
So this actually looks pretty good for the type of game, for the type of platform it's on. Because I'm racing with this, it should be a really easy race. Anyway, this is the cockpit mode, as you might be able to tell. They don't have any sort of detailed interiors for any of these things. So this is sort of the cockpit mode that you get, which is sort of unfortunate, but actually it works well for me at least, because I really like the perspective that it offers. And there we go. I'm a bit too fast for this track, at least at this difficulty. The physics is really quite good, though definitely you're not going to get sort of really all the great stuff that you would normally expect from sort of a more modern game right now. There's no damage in any of the cars, no damage modeling, no damage effects. And they're just 4 cars, so it's not as busy of a track as you might really want in this sort of game. It's definitely sort of the game where you sort of do what you want. You find the tracks you like, race those ones, sort of grind for money, buy the cars you want, sort of rank up the tracks to get harder races. Sort of get your challenge there. There's the driving challenges that offer quite a bit of challenge to try to get golds on every single track, or every challenge at least. Some of them are easy, some of them are hard. I've played a little bit of them. It's a really good way of getting money easily because you get essentially 6 tracks, 6 races per. If you get, you know, like a gold, you get all of the prize money. You get the bronze and silver prize money with it, so it's not just. So it adds up quickly if you do well there. Versus this, where you sort of have to, you know, back out and switch tracks or change difficulties and all that sort of stuff. And the cool thing about that mode is that it's Jay Leno that's doing all the narration. So he explains sort of driving styles and stuff, and narrates the modes. He also does the, you know, race, set, go sort of thing at the beginning of each race. I believe it's at the beginning of each race. I wasn't really paying attention when I started this. We should be the voice when we finish it. It says, goes out finish. It's sort of interesting, sort of listening to how he does the voiceover versus the typical Gran Turismo announcers that are just, you know, yelling usually. This game, it looks quite good for, you know, a PSP game. It looks really good. And certainly the visuals are sort of in the ballpark of, you know, Gran Turismo 3 and 4. It's definitely not as good as those ones. I know when I played this back around launch, there are certain tracks where you'd have visual issues, like weird popping on the trees. Some of these tracks that were definitely sort of a bit of a bummer. But then you see sort of the game itself and sort of understand that they took some shortcuts. It took plenty of shortcuts actually to, you know, get this on the PSP and get it all working well enough. You know, as you can see, I'm just driving a big black interior of the car. There's no texture work on any of this. They're just the models. So that's unfortunate, but I played enough of it where it just doesn't really affect it at all for me. I'm used to it. It's sort of the way I prefer to do my racing games these days. I do that in the Need for Speed Shift games, Gran Turismo, Forza. What else? Dirt has a really good cockpit view. So that's just the way I like to do my racing games. I like that perspective.
Finish!
Sort of challenge that goes along with that. Yeah, that was Jay Leno yelling out finish. So that's why those 3 cars were keeping up pretty well. They're all other Bugatti Veyrons.
Ready?
Bugatti Veyrons.
Start!
So you can watch the race play out. So yeah, for being a 4-year-old PSP game at this point, it still looks really good. I would love to see Polyphony when they get done with Gran Turismo 6. Maybe whatever work they're gonna do with that on the PlayStation 4 is to bring that stuff to the Vita, because that would be really cool. To see them, you know, bring sort of their more of a full Gran Turismo experience to the Vita. So there we go. So if you want to do your replays, save that stuff, share it with people, you can do that. And right here you can just sort of, yeah, you can already do the rank up. Run C now, so we can just start up a race with that. We're going to exit real quick and change to another track. So we'll do one more race, and that will be it for today's video. I'm trying to figure out which track I saw the visual issues on. Had to do with the trees. I'm not sure why these ones are locked. That might... oh, those are drift ones. So I'd have to pick a drift car to be able to do those ones. I'm trying to think of which track it was. I believe it's the Le Mans track. Can't remember which one that is. It's not Nürburgring. I think this may be it. If not, oh well. I think we can deal with that. Let's pick a new car. Let's try out Enzo Ferrari. And we'll tune down the amount of laps for this one. We'll do a quicker 2-lap race. And we're ready to go. Keeping an eye on the times, that looked about 8 seconds, which is really good. Some of these more 3D intensive PSP games takes a while to load, so that's sort of what the install does. I don't think this was the right track. Oh well, that's what we have. One of the cool things about this game is if you play a little bit of the driving challenges, I believe the B set of driving challenges, you will unlock the custom soundtrack feature, which essentially allows you to put all of your MP3s on your memory stick in a sort of special folder. I believe it's Gran Turismo or music, either in just like the music folder on your memory stick, or like a memory folders, it's like a GTPSP folder sort of thing. You can play that stuff while you're racing, which made this sort of the first Gran Turismo game to really do that stuff. As you can tell from the lack of music, that there's not really any sort of big licensed music here, so I remember using that back in the day to listen to like the Beatles or Michael Jackson, whatever. Sort of good music that I really liked. Which has sort of gotten better with the new games, because you don't really have to do any sort of prereqs. You don't have to complete anything first to unlock that stuff. You just set it all up front in the menus. This race isn't as close as the last one. Yeah, this still works pretty well. I believe Sony dropped the price of this game recently on the PlayStation Store. I want to say it's $20, but it might even be lower than that. And I believe it's Vita compatible, so you should be able to get this on the Vita. I believe so. If not, I believe at worst it's transferable from the PS3. Even in that case, it's really, I would say it's worth it, because there's not really a ton of great games on the great racing games on the PSP yet, the Vita yet. And you pretty much got Wipeouts on there, and what Most Wanted. That's about it. I'm going the wrong way. Yeah, that one cone disappeared. Yeah, it's not perfect on the visual front. The frame rate can get a little weird at times, depending on what's going on. They made a lot of cuts to, get it to that point. And as you can see from this interior view. I'll switch some of these camera angles so you can see more of what the options are. There's our third person view. Sort of your typical view. Right, here's the end of the race.
Finish!
Yeah, so we're racing Hondas and Tommy Cairo.
Ready? Start!
Yeah, there's Jay Leno yelling, start. Okay, so that is today's video. Fortunately, it's going up a little bit late, but definitely worth it to try to get this game, be able to show off the game in the way that I would like to. So definitely, if you like what you see, it's on the PlayStation Store. I believe for the PSP and the Vita. About $20, maybe less than that. I don't think Sony's put this on sale in a while, so I don't think there's going to be anything on that front. But yeah, definitely a cool game if you're looking for a quality sort of portable simulation racing game. Definitely check it out. So with that, I will see you guys again next week. So have a good weekend.